Hey there, Wargamers. This is Jstncloud here with another episode of my Tactical Tuesday series, and this week's going to be a little bit different than the majority of the other videos that I have put out, in that this week's topic is going to be about how to get into Warhammer 40k, what armies to pick, and what do you do. It's not typical gameplay tactics, but it's kind of a tactic for the new player, and I feel like I get this kind of question or topic a lot, particularly around friends that see the models that I have and they go, wow, what is this? This is cool. Holy crap, you have a whole lot of models. What is this for? And then you explain it to them and they may show interest, but they just have no idea. So how do you get into it? What do you do? Well, first off, as you can see here, pan over, I've got quite a few models laid out. I don't have a whole variety of armies to pick from for this discussion, but I will use the models that I have at my disposal to try and drive home my topic. So, when I started Warhammer 40k, the first thing that I did, and this is the first thing I think that anyone should do, is go to the Games Workshop website under the 40k category and look at the armies. You don't want to get stuck playing an army simply because little Johnny says, oh my god, this army is good. That may be fun for a while, but are you playing it because it's going to win, or are you playing it because you like the way it looks and you're going to enjoy painting the models? Those are two different stories. So when I first started 40k, the first models that I saw were the Ultramarines. Now, those are the poster child, so to speak, for Warhammer 40k, but when I was in high school, our mascot, or our school colors rather, were blue and white, and even though my favorite color is green, blue and white, I just kind of had an affinity for it, and I fell in love with the way the models look. That's not to say I don't like other Marine chapters. As you can see here, you've seen these before if you've watched my other videos, these two Marines are actually, they're set up as tactical Marines, but they're not standing at attention like typical tactical Marines. They're running. The guy on the left is using a Death Company shoulder pad and Assault Marine legs, and the guy on the right is using Death Company shoulder pad and Death Company legs. So I converted these models over from other kits because I enjoyed the aesthetics. So it's not to say that I don't like other chapters, I like this color scheme. That's what I wanted to play. So if you are a new player and you're trying to get into the hobby, I would go through the army list on GamesWorkshop.com and just see what you think looks cool. Now, it's not quite as straightforward as this model looks cool. It probably is cool. That doesn't always hold true. But if you're playing casually and not jumping straight into the competitive play, generally if it looks cool, it probably is cool from that aspect. You may lose, you may win with it, but there are different unit comps and army comps that you're going to take to competition versus playing locally with friends. So, from what I have here, you can see I have the Marines, I've got the Tau, I've got a big guy over there, I've got the Predator and the Contemptor in the back, and I've also got two models here in the front that are from armies that I don't play or used to play. So I'm going to zoom in down here. This is Astaroth the Grim, and I loved the model, so I got it, and I painted him up. Obviously, he is not red. I used I used to have some Blood Angel models. I ran them as a Countess army. Oh my god, I know. That's kind of, taboo. But the modeling was correct. I just painted them blue. So I painted him blue. And the reason for that is I kind of used them with allies for my Ultramarines. So I wanted my army to look correct. So I think that aside from being blue and not red, he looks fine. But this is just, showing that, you may find models that you just like, or you may, like that army. I ended up not playing or sticking with the Blood Angels because I did not like the assault influence. I kind of like the well-roundedness of tactical or Codex Marines. On the right, we have Captain Badrook from the Orcs. And I don't play Orcs, but I think they are an amazingly interesting army. They're not super duper competitive, but they're super duper fun to play against because they're random. And they're just funny. And the models are very intricate. If you look at this guy right here, Captain Badrook, and then you look at, just this Marine, he's got so much more going on. And granted, he's a unit upgrade, but, he would be the equivalent of like a Super Sergeant, like a Corbulo or a Lamarte's type thing for Blood Angels. but this is a sergeant for a tactical squad, and he looks cool to me, but the orc guy just has much more going on. So that doesn't mean the orc guy's better. It just, aesthetically, maybe you like that. So that was kind of a tangent there, just showing some models. Once you have looked at models and armies that have models that you may like, I would also suggest checking out Forge World, especially if you are or decide that you like Marines or Imperial Guard. Check out Forge World and see what you may have in your future, you know, if you decide to purchase those. Now, on a side note, if I was to suggest to a new player an army to get into, the two armies that are always go-tos for me are any Space Marines, including Grey Knights and Necrons. I absolutely despise Necrons. However, the reason I suggest this to new players is that Necrons and Space Marines are very resilient, and the model count can be very low. So, from a new player perspective, getting into Warhammer 40k, it's dollar signs. If you're going to play orcs and you're playing the Green Tide, you may spend thousands of dollars getting everything you need. If you're going to play equivalent points with Space Marines, it would be a fraction of that easy because Marines are expensive to field. So the more points you put into one model, the less models you got to buy to fit a given point total. And Space Marines and Necrons are a little bit more forgiving because of the resilience of their troops and their overall army. So if you were to play Tau or Orcs, for example, and they're a little bit more fragile and you have to be, I don't want to say finessey because the Tau you kind of can just shoot things now, but they're very fragile and the troops, you know, high model count, troops are easily removed from the field versus Marines who cost about twice as much per model as a Fire Warrior does. So you kind of have to weigh that in as well. Now, once you have selected an army that you like aesthetically or for whatever reason, you just like the fluff, something like that, the second thing that I would suggest to new players is pace yourself. Look at the models that you want to get and budget out what you're going to get and when you're going to get it. I had the eyes are bigger than my stomach syndrome, and when I started, I went out and got a buttload of Marines and Marine models. And it was bad. I had so much stuff piled up that it was daunting, and I got unmotivated to paint because I had too much laying around. It is a good philosophy, especially if you can get into like a slow grow league where you're building up every week or every 2 weeks. It's a good philosophy to not get another kit of models until you have painted the previous kit. So if you get one kit at a time, or you start with like 500 points and then add on, finish a kit, then buy a new kit, and it will start to kind of go quickly for you. I would not suggest doing what I did and have a shelf full of models that are assembled waiting to be painted, because when you look at it, it's daunting. So from there, once you've kind of decided where you want to start your army from, I would suggest looking at, and not to take away from local stores or Games Workshop stores, but let's face it, 40k is really expensive. I would suggest looking into cheap alternative stores. eBay is not a bad place if you can find some deals. But I personally go to Miniature Market because you get a good discount on 40k models, and if you order $100 or more, they ship for free. And with 40k, it's not hard to reach that mark. So that's me. If I had a local store to go to who had comparable prices, I might go, but we really don't. The one store we have doesn't carry 40k, and you have to specifically order it from them if you want it. And if I'm going to have our local store order it for me, and I have to wait a week or two to get it, I might as well just order it myself and get it cheaper. That's me. If you do have a store locally that you really like and want to support, feel free to spend your dollars there. Just know that there are alternatives online if money is a major concern. If money's not a concern, do what you want to do, you know. But if money is a concern, there are good, cheap sources of discounted miniatures online, and that's a great place to start your collection. So hopefully that helps out there. As I said earlier, after looking at Games Workshop to check out Forge World, if you look here, I'm going to bring these guys up for an example. And here, the guy on the right is the Crisis Suit Commander from Games Workshop. The guy on the left is Commander Ryla from Forge World. Completely different kind of aesthetics, even though they're suits. This guy right here is one of the reasons that I decided to get into Tau. I love the look. And I didn't get him or get into Tau because they were OP and they blow stuff up. I got into it because he looks cool, and that's what I wanted to do. So that kind of, I'm saying that because I'm trying to drive in the fact that there is more to 40K than just what's going to blow up my opponent. And I think that, you know, generally if it looks good on the table, you're going to feel good rolling the dice. You know, people are going to try and blow up your nice pretty shinies, but it always feels good throwing down a model on the table that looks amazing. And back here, a little bit more forgiving from the tabletop perspective, we've got some Forge World Marine models. These guys are just going to be like captains or honor guard type stuff. There are rules in the Heresy, Horse Heresy Betrayal book for these guys, but you know, you can use them in a regular game with regular rules instead of using that. And then the Contemptor here, love it. Completely different look than regular Dreadnoughts, and decided to get, I actually have 3 of these now, to get this just because it looks cool. Now the reason I say these particular models are a little bit more forgiving in the regular tabletop is that if your opponent doesn't want you to use these rules, you can just use them as, you know, a count as Dreadnought or count as, you know, Captain, as the case may be, and pretty much no one's going to have a problem with that. I actually think that in most of the GW files that come out, which aren't many, but when they put out a pamphlet for like some kind of GW game, they actually say Forge World models may not be allowed, but the models are okay as count as. For example, the Contemptor here being a regular Dreadnought. So anyways, with that all being said, I know I've been on slight side tangents and kind of just showing off some eye candy here. I hope that the general idea behind starting 40K has been conveyed. To do a quick recap, first, if you're getting into 40K, I would suggest going to the Games Workshop website, checking out all the armies, look at all the units, see what you think looks cool, find a paint scheme that you think looks cool. From there, the second thing that I would do is try to figure out what you want to get, what you want to start with, the point totals you want to start with, and start planning out where you want your army to go. And then the third and final thing I would do is figure out where you want to purchase your models, what you're going to purchase first, and then be sure to try and keep yourself on track painting wise. Don't overburden yourself with hundreds of models. Start small, finish a project, start a new project, and keep motivated. That's the key thing with 40K. If you've got the funds to get into it, try and stay motivated with what you're doing, because it is a lot of models. If I showed you guys all the stuff that I had that was unpainted, you'd probably laugh at me. A commissioned painter who has shelves of unpainted models. It's a little bit ridiculous. So anyways, guys, as always, if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. If this was helpful to you or helpful to a friend, please comment below and let me know. If you have any critiques, suggestions, or topics you'd like to see me cover, or just general any comments you like, please leave them below. I will try to respond, and I do value your input. I'm trying to improve every week, and I really would like to continue moving forward with my video series. So as always, happy wargaming, and thanks for watching.